This is Little Wild Experiences podcast. My name is Zhara, your host today. And today we actually wanted to talk about a little bit more, touch this topic of the job marketing nowadays. Recently, I've been in a situation where I wanted to change my career. I have just, a little bit more about me. I have worked in educational field for the last 10 years. And I decided that it was time for me to make that switch. And of course, it's really hard to transition careers. We know that you need to be creative, come out with ideas. Let's say you want to, probably you're going to have to go back to school, take a couple of classes, get some certifications, and it can be very annoying. I decided to go for boot camp as I thought that it was the most practical solution. I really don't want to spend another 4 years or who knows how long in school and then spend more money on top of that. So, and while on LinkedIn, I kind of saw, I've been observing and my experiences, different interviews after I graduated from boot camp. It has been really hard to find jobs, to land that job. And to me, it's really outrageous because it seems that it's a flaw from the sides of recruiters and organizations. So they post these ads, these jobs, advertisements, specifying the requirements, and they're very, very clear about, talking, saying things like, okay, so I want this type of person to have this certain certifications with this amount of experience. And I want this person to be knowledgeable on this, so-and-so things. And without thinking that that's not what is going to solve the solution in terms of finding the person that they need to provide those services that they need this person to provide. They relied a lot on these titles in my field where right now, for example, we have a lot of entry levels, like entry level cybersecurity engineer, entry level data analyst, entry level software developer, and then so on. And not just that they are very specific on those requirements, but they also post these entry-level positions, and they, on the top of that, they're advertising this as an entry-level position, but then the requirements are like, well, we need this person to have 2-3 years of experience. I mean, I don't know what they're expecting out of an entry-level position. If I say entry-level in my mind, automatically I'm gonna think about someone who just came out of a boot camp, or someone who's been, trying to get in the field for the last 6 couple months. So that should be acceptable for an entry level if you're advertising that position as an entry level. So that's one right there. And on the other hand, we have all these jobs that are all these organizations, and recruiters, well, the organizations, this is another thing. So they post these ads and they have all these certain requirements with certain amount of skills and specific certifications. So let's just put that on hold right there. Now let's talk about the fact that the organizations themselves are not the ones that are actually looking for the candidate. Usually it's a recruiter, so that's the middleman. And when I find myself in interviews, because I have had them, they grill you with these scripted questions that it seems like you're taking a high school exam. And it's funny because I remember talking to a recruiter who worked in the career development department where I got my bootcamp from. And in one of our sessions, one of our appointments, he mentioned something that I found really outrageous to me. Not from him. He was really great. I think I learned a lot from him, in terms of the recruiter's perspective. But the fact that he said that this is real, when he said that, do not try to sound like you know a lot, because like if you try to sound too technical and very eloquent in terms of, the position that you're applying to, what's going to happen is that the person, the hiring manager or supervisors are going to feel intimidated and challenged. And to me, that's like, seriously. So you're telling me that you're trying to interview me to solve an issue, because if you're an organization, you do have an issue that needs to be solved. You do have certain challenge in the organization that you're looking for my expertise. And you need to make sure that my skills and my experiences align with your challenges, requirements. And for me, when I heard that this sounding more eloquent and intelligent and technical in the field intimidates hiring managers, and they will hire me because of that, I'm sorry, but that's some BS. I mean, I apologize for this, but it's just what that has to so you're telling me that you feel threatened by my intelligence? I mean, I'm real confused on that. And on the other hand, then, they add, like I said previously mentioned, they have all these certain requirements listed in the advertisement. But then organizations don't really know what, or the recruiter who actually wrote this ad is not aware or knowledgeable about the challenges that this organization is presenting, hence trying to find this candidate to, prospective employee. So how are you going to find the right candidate if you add all these genetic requirements for a certain position, but then you are not thinking about what is that you need exactly in your organization? Because to me, that's more important as a hiring manager. So if I'm the manager of, but let's put it simple this way. I'm the manager of a restaurant, and right now I have a problem, with my staff, because this restaurant is getting really busy. It's just, getting packed every night, during dinner, and I have this number of waiters. And let's say the number of waiters that I have now employed is not enough to handle the amount of customers that comes to the restaurant. So that come to the restaurant. So my thing is, me as a manager of that restaurant, I have to find what my challenge is. My challenge is, it might be the number. So let me see. It's probably that I don't get the number of waiters, or maybe I can save some money, just, better for me, benefits me financially, keeping the amount of waiters, because maybe it's not the amount of waiters. Maybe it's just that the waiters that I have right here working for me are no efficient enough, are no fast enough, or no, they don't function enough in working at, in a restaurant that has this really fast pace. So that's something that I need to think of as a manager. Well, if it's actually the employees that I have that are not functioning properly according to what the needs of my restaurant are, then it's not about hiring someone else. It's about replacing someone who actually has the skills to be more efficient on the floor. So that's where I'm coming from. So you put these ads that are so genetic. And when you ask these scripted questions, like, for example, I remember having these interviews, and they will ask me, well, what is the command that you use to change users' authorizations, or user access to files on Linux, which is fine. But is that question, first of all, you can be the pro of the pro in any field, and you're not going to remember those little things like that, because you don't memorize those things unless you use them daily. There are tons of commands, and maybe the network of the software developer has more knowledge about certain commands that the cybersecurity engineer doesn't have, because he uses them constantly. And it depends on the type of task that employee or expert is working on. Different tasks. For certain tasks, you use certain codes on a daily basis. For another task, you don't. And so and so. So that, to me, that's just a deal breaker automatically, because that's not a question that's going to give you accurate results in terms of knowing if the person is going to be efficient for what you're looking for. So what I'm trying to say right here, in interview, number one, organizations need to be straightforward when they decide that they need someone to work for them. What do you need to solve in your organization? What exactly you're looking for? What do you expect from this new employee to achieve in a year? What do you need to solve that this new person coming to the team, coming on board, is going to help you to solve? That's number one. Number two, I love recruiting. I know this is a job, but honestly, recruiters sometimes have no clue, absolutely no clue what the organization needs. Because even the owners of these organizations, or the CEOs or the leaders of these organizations, have no clue neither. So if these people hire a recruiter, me as a recruiter, then I will say, well, what is your challenge? Well, I suggest that maybe we should focus on someone that has these soft skills and these hard skills. And let's just be a little flexible about these hard skills, because you have this issue right here. And I think the person that has a certain type of soft skills will actually be more efficient to help you to solve this issue. So those are the things that you need to consider. And then on the other hand, thinking about how many people will be employed at this point? How many people will actually land a job if more organizations will start hiring properly and looking for employees properly? It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I was reading an article last time, and it was saying, which actually I think is true, this, because now AI is just, AI is marvelous, but there's always, human beings have more power on computers. Human beings, in my personal opinion, and what I think, you're the one that has the reasoning. Computers follow your instructions. So AI is marvelous if we use them properly and accordingly. So now they have this AI system that when these recruiters receive resumes, tons of resumes, and sometimes people that aren't even qualified for the job, they don't have time to go over this resumes. So what happens, they have AI to choose resumes based on keywords, really, keywords. So now you're making it even more difficult for the employee, because the employee has to let me just put these words right here. Let me just, it's just frustrating. All right, I understand that. So being that said, then now from the recruiter's side, the recruiter is overwhelmed with all these resumes, and then it's going to use AI to make it easier and narrow the search and get less resumes to go over. So now you have this whole bunch of resumes that are probably you had a really wonderful candidates that apply for it, but then they don't put the keywords that you like or that your AI likes. That's an issue right there. How to be solved? But I'd love to hear from you on the comments, and let me know what you think about the situation. And I think solving this matter of an appropriate way of looking for employees and handling interviews. An interview is not supposed to be a psychological exam. Like, oh, this person, the employee is going to think this way because you were you were out of work for this amount of days. You need to tweak it a little bit. Don't say this way. Come on, man, let me be me. Let me be me as an prospective employee. Let me be me. Show me your true self. Let's talk right here. What the organization needs. How can I help you? Well, this is my expertise. These are my skills. What do you think about that? Give it a little thought. Let me know if you think it, please. If you don't think that I'm the right person to solve your challenges, just let me know. But I can guarantee you that if interviews will run this way, I can guarantee you that more people will be employed right now. And more organizations will be happier because they're hiring the right person. So just want to, I really wanted to make this podcast out there and put it out there for you guys so I can get more comments from people, more opinions from people in trying to understand what exactly is happening right here. And more people get, more aware of the situation, and perhaps more organizations get more aware of the situation. And let's change it. Let's just change this conventional way of the hiring process. And these interviews that are so irrational and ridiculous because they're so absurd. How do you expect you're going to get the right person by following a scripted questions? Not everyone is the same. Not everyone is the same. And if you start grilling the employee is not going to be himself or herself. Then now you don't get to know the person, the real person that probably is the person that's going to solve your issues, the issues that you have in your organization that need to be solved so you can make more money. In my opinion, then, we need to change this because there is a lot of talented people out there with not jobs. The fact that you have a bachelor's degree in a certain field doesn't mean that you are the right person. The fact that you have a certification doesn't mean you are the right person for that job. Because there are so many factors that play the role when it comes about finding that perfect person that aligns with the needs of my organization. It's not just a degree. It's not just 17 years of experience. It's not just this amount of certifications and this specific, skills in these programs and softwares and things like that. It just, there's so many factors. And the only way you can actually find that is by having a true, honest conversation with somebody. It's not about grilling. It's not about scripted questions. It's not about genetic interview scripts. It's not about that. That's not going to get you the person that you need. And you probably, as an organization, would let go someone that will be very valuable for your team just because you're interview people in a way that is not efficient. So please, this was my show. This is my podcast, Little Wild Experiences. Again, I'm your host. My name is Zhara, and you can find more of my blog on littlewildexperiences.com. I really love blogging about traveling because that's one of my, that's one of my passions and diving. But I also like to talk about society, challenges that we have right now. And I will try to bring all these topics out there for you to consider, for you to share, and maybe more people become more aware of what's going on, and we can all change things by getting together and by uniting. Thank you and have a great day. Hope to see you next time, and I hope you can subscribe, follow me, and be happy, be kind. Thank you. Bye-bye.